2014 at the World Championships. And after the racing and the quality of the lightweight races we've seen so far today, this is sure to be another cracking final. And there'll be a tussle in the centre of the course. Let's see who will take home the gold medal.
I think there will. We've got Canada and Italy in the centre of the course. Neither of those two were in Lucerne. They've both stepped up, coming together for this championships and winning their heats, so getting those centre lanes ahead of the gold and silver medalists from Lucerne, the crews that are either side of them. This is the Japanese crew who the last to qualify through the repechage. Will be thinking about Tokyo, whether they can get into that women's lightweight double scull. Of course, the only event for lightweight women. You see the British getting the boat lined up, positioned in that shoe, just focused in there. This is the World Championships final. See the Italians pushed out the Australians by 1 second in the heat to get this position. The Canadians alongside them, who just pushed out the British by ½ a second in the heat to get this position. Alongside them, this Australian crew who did take their gold in Lucerne. Sitting ready, very calm. The blade square in the water, but real loose grip. And then the crew from China. One through the repechage on that outside lane. Just calm and composed as we wait for the starter to be ready. Chen Fang in the stroke seat there. Just see that determination, ready to go. Just hearing the call over now.
And we're away. The Canadians look the first to react there. The Australians a little slow off the line on that first stroke. But a good start across the board. As you said, the two crews in the middle, Canada and Italy, the two heat winners through to this final. But the gold and silver medalists from the Lucerne World Cup, Australia in lane 5 and Great Britain in lane 2. So it's going to be a very tight race here. We know that the Australians don't have a lightweight women's double here. They've chosen to send the lightweight women's quad instead in order to try and build a double leading up to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. But all four of these women in the boat, Amy James, Alice Arch, Georgia Miansara and Georgia Nesbitt, relocating to Penrith to the newly formed National Women's Training Centre.
There's a British double, or British quadruple there, beg your pardon. Ellie Piggott in the stroke seats. Ellie from Wallingford Rowing Club, which is a centre down there on the Thames, or the upper reaches of the Thames of lightweight rowing in Britain. This Italian Giovanni Schiacchetto in the stroke seat, just 19 years of age. What a real talent. And I think Italy is one of the nations that's doing so well to develop their women's programme now with parity, gender parity in the 2020 Olympics. And the Italians haven't always been the strongest nation in women's rowing, but now that's all changing. And Giovanna Schettino, at 19 years of age, the stroke is a flag bearer for that change.
Well, it's the new generation, isn't it, coming through the 500, and it's the crew from China who've got that narrow lead over that Italian crew, as we say, aged range 19, 20 and 21. So it's a new generation. They were great in the heat, and now they're starting to squeeze it through in this second 500.
Well, we've seen these two scullers in the stern on the left of the Chinese boat in the Poznan Regatta, where they took the first place in the lightweight women's double sculls. But there we ride with the 19-year-old Italian Giovanna Schettino in the stroke seat. Just behind her is the 21-year-old Federica Cedrini, more experienced. There's the Chinese, we were talking about them, and I think they probably put their fastest lightweight women's scullers in this quadruple, try and get a gold medal in this event. Pan Dan Dan from the Zhejiang province, and Chen Fang from Sichuan in the south of China. There's Pan Dandan and her partner from Sichuan behind her.
And people might be wondering why you would do this. Why would you put your athletes into a non-Olympic boat class when the Olympic boat class is what we're all aiming for? And when you only have 2 spots in the Olympic Games, which is the case now for the men and the women in the lightweight category, it's a way to keep more athletes in the boat, to keep the squad bigger, pushing themselves along. They focus on winning a gold medal here, and then as we get closer to the Games, then prioritising that Olympic class. So it's a way to keep more athletes, I think, in the sport and in the system, and to keep them driving each other along and pushing the standard up. But as we come to the 1,000-metre mark here, it is still China and Italy in the lead. It looks like it's chopping and changing. It's actually quite hard to tell who's in the lead, but it looks like Italy just went through ahead of China. Australia currently in 3rd position and the Canadians in 4th. So I don't think any of us expected to see this. The Chinese over in lane 6, they have had a very strong pedigree in lightweight women's rowing for many Olympic cycles, but probably a little quiet over the last 4 years. So interesting to see a bit of a build back in the category.
Well, it's the experience on the near side, isn't it? Both in the Chinese crew and in the Australian crew, having got that gold medal in Lucerne, against the youth and the Italian crew here we see with full of self-belief, full of determination, and now moving in this really important 3rd 500 and taking the lead.
Yeah, there's the drone shot. You can see the Italians on the left of your picture, and in the centre lane there's the Canadians. Not been the best performance from them. Australia in the yellow there, sort of edging towards the left, and then the Chinese just ahead of the Australians. There we're back with the side camera.
Will this be a decisive move, do you think, from the Italians, that they've taken this on really quite early, but they're now coming through this 3rd 500 and still moving out, I think?
To be honest, I don't know that it is the Italians, because the Australians look like they're still the same margin from the Italians. I think it is the Chinese that are starting to fade. The Australians and the Italians both moving through the Chinese now, who are
Chinese
really
are almost
finding
going
this
backwards
pace.
every stroke, aren't they?
That's right, yeah, the Australians coming through and probably moving up on the Italians now, but the Italians with about 3 seats advantage.
And this Italian quad, 3 of them took gold in the under-23s in Plovdiv, and the 4th member of that crew, Federica Cesarini, took silver in the lightweight women's double sculls. So they are so young, and yet they are leading the course. And can these women, the Australians, get back?
Well, that's what it's going to come down to, isn't it? Now, the big last 500, they're going to look to step it on, and you can see the determination. Georgia Nesbitt in the stroke seat, looking to push her crew on, looking to get connected. Really long strokes that they're still sculling. Will they be able to make a move back on this Italian crew? And
you could see the grit on the face of Georgia Nesbitt there, the Tasmanian. She went for Olympic qualification in the lightweight women's double scull last year with Hannah Every-Hall, the 2012 Olympian, and heartbreakingly missed out. So she's looking to do it this quad. She's stroking her crew, and the Australians are 5 metres off the Italians. The Italians 38 strokes a minute. The Australians responding at 39 strokes a minute.
And if Sarah Cook could talk the Australians through to a gold medal, then she definitely would.
And we've got that at the front of the course. I think the Italians still moving there. They'll love to see those red boys. I think the Italians might have this one. The Canadians in 4th, worth looking out for. That they're now coming up on that boat from China and threatening that bronze medal.
So we're seeing the sprint finish, the Canadians in the centre. You can see them moving up. They're going to take the bronze ahead of China if this form continues. As they come in front of us, there's about 20 strokes left. That's all that remains for the Australians to try and get their bows in front of the Italians in blue, the Australians in yellow. The Canadians just coming through into 4th place. Will they threaten the Australians?
The Italians are moving. They have another gear, and here they go. And here come Canada. They're trying to get ahead of the Chinese.
But China are responding. China have responded. We thought they were going backwards. We thought they'd slow down. China have had something more. It's going to come down to a photo for the bronze, but it's Italy for 1st, Australia for 2nd.
Oh, China got it.
And it's photo. I think I'm with you, Mark. I think China got that ahead of that Canadian crew, who really showed well in that last 500, but it might not be quite enough.
I thought I talked myself. Maybe we talked China out of a medal position there, and we did them an injustice.
Well, they did well. They took it on bravely, and they were in there, and then they just seemed to have faded. But it's always that last piece, isn't it? We trained for it. The final 30 strokes, they were able to step it up. Canada looking disappointed, and now in that awful moment of having to wait and see what comes up from the photo finish. Crew from China in exactly the same position. They've rode their hearts out, now having to sit there and just wait and wait for this photo to come through. Martin Cross thinks he called it, that it was China. I think the confirmation may have come through or not. Just looking for a change in body language, but the winners know they were there. The young crew from Italy. As you say, it's a new generation coming through in Italian women's rowing, and the whole Italian program has been fantastic. Really looking forward to seeing them racing for medals tomorrow in a good number of boats, and there'll be disappointment for that British crew who really were there to start with but couldn't keep pace in the second half. And it's confirmed there that it is China who got that bronze medal, just ahead of Canada, with Italy in the gold medal position and Australia taking